I decided to get the Platinum Trophy for Killing Floor 2 and all of its DLC, and it was an absolute blast of a time.
Load, you bastard, load! You're done! Not dead yet? That pussy got your attention, eh?
So, if you don't know, Killing Floor 2 is a round-based zombie survival game with over 10 different enemy types, including different bosses, 10 different classes, all with cool different weapons and perks that you can unlock as you progress, tons of maps, 66 trophies, and it is just an absolute crazy game. So, let's get straight into it. So, as soon as the game finished downloading, I just picked a random class, random map, went to get a feel for the game, and turns out trophies are really easy in this game to get. All I had to do is kill this Scrape, which is a random enemy, comes a couple rounds in, and basically just charges at you with a big fuck-off chainsaw for an arm, and does not stop until you've killed it. Then a few seconds later, I got another trophy, which is for killing a flesh pound, which is this tanky big boy who also loves to charge at you when it's attacked, and it can be an absolute pain if it pins you against a wall, and there's lots of enemies about, but as you can see, one-on-one, it's actually really chill to kill. I also got another really easy trophy just by fully sealing a door so that the enemies couldn't get through it. And then I finished off the game by coming up against the King Flesh Pound boss, who honestly was just an absolute nightmare to kill compared to the normal Flesh Pounds. And obviously it was my very first game, I was still trying to get the hang of it, but I think I realised very quickly that the Demolitionist class was just not for me whatsoever. Like, I really hated the Sticky Mine weapon. I know it's quite powerful, but because it's so slow and you have to reload so much, I was constantly just worrying about needing to reload it, which just led to me getting pinned down completely, and especially when the King Flesh Pound's got a massive shield on it, and it spawns loads of other Flesh Pounds to help too. It was just a nightmare, and I was really close to dying here. And I definitely would have died if it wasn't for this really mediocre machine gun, which I remembered I bought at the end of the last round with my remaining cash, which really pulled me through this, because that mine gun was just absolute wank in the end, especially since if I got myself trapped in a corner and then I used it, I would have just blown myself up and died. So in my next game, I used the Gunslinger class, which was way more fun, to be honest, using like revolvers, magnums, repeaters, that sort of thing. While looking at it, I also just want to point out how amazing this Burning Eiffel Tower and just the map in general looks. I honestly think the devs have done such a great job at nailing that post-apocalyptic vibe, and it's definitely something that makes this game stand out. But back to the main task on hand, I was able to get another trophy, which was killing a siren without it managing to hit you, since what it does is screams at you from a distance and completely ignores your armour to damage your health. So I did have to kill it from a distance to get the trophy, but in doing so it did also make me realise how ridiculously bad the recoil is on late game gunslinger weapons, and to be honest, this is definitely something which I could just not stand using going forward. So in my next game I tried out the map Volta Manor, which again is another just amazing looking map, as well as trying out the support class, which I'm pretty sure is one of the most popular classes to use, but to be honest I just found it really boring, and even though the weapons are powerful, I know that I need to level a single class up to level 25 as part of the trophy run, so I needed to be sure of the class that I was going to pick to do this with, and even though my next game started well for about 5 seconds, as you can see the Berserk class was definitely not it either. Like, look how much damage I'm already taking. I'm only on round 1 and I'm already struggling, especially against this fucking fat bastard, who isn't even a hard enemy usually, but just annoys me a lot. Eventually moving on from that though, I would like to give a massive shout out to the support class just for existing and helping me get over the trauma I just endured, because the support class is just amazing. Look at it. This is an early game weapon, hardly been upgraded, 3/4 of the way through the rounds, and yeah, absolutely tearing through enemies still. And this first game using them, I did naturally wonder if the shotguns would just peak in their damage quite early on and wouldn't actually get much better. But as soon as I unlocked the AA-12 automatic shotgun, yeah, I was proved wrong instantly. This thing just kept tearing through them. Rounds 1 to 4, 1 to 7, 1 to 10, whichever length game you're playing on. This gun still just feels like one of the most overpowered weapons in the game for sure. However, despite having only leveled up the support class once by this point, I still had to go up against the Matriarch boss, which is for sure the hardest boss in the whole game. Like, even using the AA-12, which is one of the most powerful weapons in the game, its 3 shields protect its health from basically all damage, but then once the shields have been destroyed, the Matriarch becomes far more aggressive. And luckily, it is really vulnerable to headshots once that head shield has been taken down. But the thing I found really difficult is being accurate with the headshots when you're constantly running away from it because of how powerful its attacks are. Such as this plasma beam that shoots at you at really long range and can do quite a lot of damage unless you can manage to stagger it in time, as well as the ability to pull you towards it and just smack you across the face. Oh, and if you thought that's too easy, it can also just shoot rockets at you from a distance, and it can spawn in robots whenever it likes, just to annoy you, just to make your life a little bit more difficult. And I will admit, on this specific game you're watching here, it did actually go quite well, and I do look like I'm being dramatic, but this thing did put me through absolute hell in some of the 50 times I had to kill it throughout this trophy run, but at least we got a trophy, end of the line, for killing the matriarch. Oh, and I forgot to say, it can also go invisible, but moving on. I know that I've just spent about 30 years going on about how good the support class is, but no. That is not the class I went for, because after that, shortly after, I discovered the SWAT class, and oh my god, it is amazing. It's basically just a ton of SMGs with really, really good range, really good damage, loads of ammo, stun grenades, which completely paralyse, flash pounds even. It's just great. Like, look at the way you can just absolutely spam bullets at bosses constantly without having to stop, without having to worry about reloading too much. So you can just switch weapon and you just do that while running away from them, while they're charging at you. It is mwah, chef's kiss. Bit of an awkward one when I do nearly die when talking about this, but I do pinky promise this was my fault, not the classes. Moving on. Now that we've established I'm going to be using the SWAT class to get to level 25 and get that grindy trophy, in my next game I do actually get the trophy for getting the SWAT class to level 5. And it does get progressively slower to the point that it does take the same amount of experience to get from level 24 to 25 as it does from level 1 to 8. Like, I love this game, but if there's one criticism I have of it, this has to be it. Since it's so time consuming to get a single class from level 1 to 25, it means that if you are doing the platinum run, you can't really just get to enjoy all of the different classes. But then saying that, as a trophy collector, I am sort of doing it to myself. So at this point, I did start going for the collectible trophies, which do make up about 2/3 of the trophies in the game, and it definitely was something I was putting off for a little bit, since I do often find in platinum trophy runs, collectible trophies can just be really tedious and boring, and just really there for the sake of it, and just not really add anything to the game. However, I was actually pleasantly surprised that all you need to do is shoot 10 collectibles in each map that there's a trophy for, and these collectibles can be anything from gold medallions to other gold jewellery, to skulls, to these weird alien heads, and some maps can actually have up to 30, even though you only need 10 to get the trophy. So it is actually quite chill to find all the collectibles that you need to get the trophy. I did also try and find the collectibles as naturally as possible, just by exploring the map while playing. Although I must admit, there were some games when all I would do is keep 1Z alive at the end of a round, because of that constant pressure that they otherwise put you under while trying to find the collectibles. Like, no man hunting for his pointless collectibles that mean absolutely nothing, which are hiding away in plant pots and under desks and on top of shelves, wants to be distracted by Zeds. No. I need my platinum trophy. I need it. I'm one trophy closer now. However, this game was bittersweet, because this game should have got us 2 trophies closer, since I was also playing it on hard difficulty, which is the requirement for another trophy, but this really did not go well, and this King Flesh Pound just absolutely fucked me up. However, I did realise that I was constantly buying ammo throughout all of the rounds and using my SMG from round 1, which is probably the reason that I couldn't afford to fully upgrade my weapons before the boss fight. So going forward, I did make sure that I used the pistol for as long as possible, just to avoid having to spend any money. So by this point, I had mentally and physically prepared myself to fight the King Flesh Pound again, since that's the only ever boss that seems to turn up in this game. But as usual, I was wrong.
You have been killing my test subjects. That is annoying. You will die now.
So the next boss that I came up against is Dr. Hans Volter, who is basically some crazy Nazi scientist, and I'm pretty sure the first boss that was actually introduced into the game. And I definitely think he's the most unique, and probably my favourite boss in the entire game, because similar to the Matriarch and Patriarch, I feel like he actually offers something new and challenging at the end of each game, whereas the King Flesh Pound and Abomination just charge at you like any other Zed. It's not exactly the most unique thing ever, and don't get me wrong, this is Killing Floor 2, so obviously he charges at me and comes out with some proper weird stuff. Yeah. Bit strange, can't lie, but yeah, other than that charge that he does at you to drain your health so that you can recharge his own, he does also have some other really cool attacks, like slashing at you like he's fucking Wolverine, he shoots at you with these akimbo machine guns, He even has a million types of grenades that he can throw at you, like explosive grenades, gas grenades, smoke grenades. He can spawn another Zeds to help, but obviously he will just charge at you at every opportunity possible. And this only gets harder as his health gets lower because he gets more aggressive with his attacks, and he spawns a massive shield around him when he charges at you. So you need to make sure that you have enough time to destroy his shield before he's able to touch you, because it staggers him so you can get a lot of really easy hits on him, and it means that he can't drain your health to recharge his.
Enough of this phase. Now you shall.
Yeah, is it just me, or every time that he says enough of this phase and chucks a fuckload of grenades at you and runs away, it sort of reminds me of when you're 12 years old playing Modern Warfare 3, you've got a KD of 3 to 12, all your friends are taking the piss out of you, so obviously you go try hard mode and you change to your submachine gun class and still do just as bad. Like he's just done there. But thank you very much for giving me the Die Vaulter trophy and the hard trophy for beating this game on hard mode, you fucking Nazi piece of shit. Anyway, in my next game I got a further 2 trophies for getting all the collectibles on the map Catacombs, and the next Mr. Perky trophy for getting the SWAT class to level 10. Then in my next game I got the trophy point paper, which was getting all the collectibles on the map Evacuation Point. And then really I just got on a bit of a roll cycling through all of the maps to find all the collectibles, and it was definitely a good way to experience all of the different maps. Although there were some quite difficult ones to spot, like these holograms on the map rig. Although that sort of got balanced out by the glowing red skulls and the snow globes on a lot of the maps. And for the handful of maps where I just could not find the last 1 or 2 collectibles, there is luckily this really amazing Steam thread that I'll link below, which just tells you where every collectible is, if you are struggling. And the chances are, if you do decide to complete this platinum run, you probably will struggle with at least 1 or 2 maps. So after playing about half a dozen games since the Mr. Perky 10 trophy, I ended up playing Ashwood Asylum, where I killed the Abomination boss, which managed to get me to level 15, and I got all the collectible trophies on this map. I then played the map Sanitarium and Biolapse, which was then followed by the map Desolation, where I got all the collectibles, followed by an accidental gold trophy for killing the Patriarch boss before he can regen any health, because what he usually does after being damaged so much is goes invisible and runs away. Because of the really small corridors in this map, he just had no chance to run away from me. I then got a few more collectible trophies by playing the maps Hellmark Station, which I absolutely love the atmosphere and vibe of, Storpy 2299, Moonbase, which I'm pretty sure is a really popular map in the community, but I'm personally just not a fan of the low gravity, and finally Netherhold, which is a decent map to play. But to be honest, I did find myself needing a break from the collectible trophy hunting, which is why I went for the trophy for getting to round 15 on Endless Game Mode on the map Elysium, which is hands down my favourite map in the whole game. As every other round it teleports you to a different location, so it's like half a dozen maps built into one, which is why I then stuck with Elysium to go for some of the multiplayer trophies, including Benefactor, which I would point out this third guy here was not asked to be a part of, but basically it's for giving 1,000 dosh to a teammate, and then the trophy I Got Your Back, which is just for healing any teammate. Then after this, I did somehow break the game, because even though it was my very first multiplayer game, I somehow got the Team Player 25 trophy, and Team Player 10, and Team Player 1, even though I hadn't completed 25 games on multiplayer. So yeah, 5 trophies in one game. Nice. I then stuck with the map Elysium yet again to go for the Suicidal trophy, which is just for beating any game on the Suicidal difficulty mode, and surprisingly, it wasn't too difficult. Although I definitely can't say the same for the final difficulty based trophy, which is accurately named Hell on Earth, because it was fucking painful and there was no way I was able to complete this without being on multiplayer. And unfortunately, multiplayer was also required for the Versus trophies, which is for winning as a human and winning as a Zed on the Versus game mode, and it is a boring game mode, no one plays it. It literally took me 2 hours to find one game. So as you can see, rather than going straight into trying to get the human win trophy, I just went back to finding some collectibles. And before I knew it, I'd also got the Mr. Perky 20 trophy, which I was really happy to get, because it meant that I can now equip the Assault Armor specialization, which lets me max my armor at 150, rather than 100, which can be an absolute lifesaver in some situations. As you can see, I've then got the collectible trophies for the maps Nuked, the Tragic Kingdom, and Nightmare, followed by Krampus's Lair and Power Core. I then waited another 2 hours to try and find a Versus game to get the Versus Human trophy, and I have no idea if I was doing anything wrong, but I just could not find one, so I had to make the really shit decision to boost the trophy, which I really hate doing because it sort of sours the whole platinum run. So yeah, be warned, if you want to get this platinum trophy, you're probably going to have to do it. I then got the collectible trophy for the map Airship, which is this really cool steampunk sort of map, which was then followed by the collectible trophy on the map Lockdown, and then the collectible trophy on the map Monster Ball, which for some reason also had this other random trophy, just for opening this door. So yeah, 2 trophies on this map. So at this point, other than still needing to get the SWAT class to level 25, we were pretty much just wrapping up the rest of the collectible trophies, including You'll Shoot Your Eye Out on Santa's Workshop, Hobble Bobble on the map Dissector, Outpost Offerings on the map Outpost, and Perilous Prison on the map Prison. Really creative trophy names, I know. So at this point I did feel the levelling up process slowing down quite a lot, so what I decided to do is grind out Elysium on hard difficulty on endless mode for a couple hours, and that got me straight up to level 25, which is the final gold trophy that I needed for this run. So now we were at the final sprint, and I did leave a few of my favourite maps until the end, including Paris, which, as I've said before, is just an absolute gorgeous map. Farmhouse, which is just really creepy. And finally the collectible trophies on Volta Manor, which I must have played a million times, Black Forest, Containment Station, Infernal Realm, and finally Hostile Grounds, which gets us the Platinum Trophy. We made it in the end, and honestly, it was a really fun time. Even though we had to get a million collectible trophies, and that grind to level 25 was quite tedious in the end, I genuinely did not have a moment where I didn't enjoy it, and that is exactly what you want from a Platinum Trophy. Cool enemies, cool weapons, great maps, great gameplay, and collectible trophies that aren't stupidly difficult to get, and I'd say that's what you get from Killing Floor 2. Yes, it would have been really nice if leveling classes was much easier, so that I could have incorporated more different classes and weapons and perks into the trophy run. But then again, I guess it wouldn't be the pure Platinum Trophy experience without that tedious grind towards the end. If you have stayed this long, then thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. This was my first time creating and editing a video, so I am hoping that the quality keeps improving. And if you would like to see future videos, then please do feel free to subscribe. So yeah, see ya.